evening. I'm Regina Lay, sitting in for Sestrilon.
I'm Pauline Berzosa.
And I'm Sean Yao.
The big stories tonight. The lower house starts its deliberations on the 2026 national budget, but it got off to a heated start when Bota's representative Toby Tiangco challenged Appropriations Chair Mika Swansing to produce the report from last year's committee meetings.
And the Commission on Audit has launched a fraud audit on flood control projects by the DPWH in Bulakan, which received the biggest budget allotment in Central Luzon for the past 3 years.
And as e-wallets de-link from online gambling apps, operators have reportedly begun using other e-commerce applications to reach players, even allegedly using encrypted messaging apps.
Madam Chair, that's not acceptable. This is public records. Pareho pa naman yung COMSEC natin. At yan dapat linalagay sa archives. Within 5 minutes, I need the committee report.
If we may please move on to the other questions while they're working on this.
Yes, I will. But if within 5 minutes wala yan, ibig sabihin wala yan, ngayon palang gagawa yan.
Big day at the lower house today, which began tackling the 2026 General Appropriations Bill 2 weeks early. But things got heated when Navota City Congressman Toby Tiangco stepped up to make a manifestation about last year's problematic budget. Marian Enriquez with tonight's big story.
It was supposed to be a briefing, not a hearing, meaning the economic managers were simply supposed to present how they came up with the national expenditure plan. But things quickly got heated when Navota City Representative Toby Tiangco challenged new House Appropriations Chair Mika Swansing to produce the small committee report from last year. The small committee, composed of House leaders, was allegedly where the insertions and reallocations in the 2025 budget were made. Swansing tried to push back by saying she wasn't the appropriations chair at that time.
That's not acceptable. This is public records. Pareho pa naman yung COMSEC natin. At yan dapat linalagay sa archives. But if within 5 minutes wala yan, ibig sabihin wala yan, ngayon palang gagawa yan.
The small committee is subsumed within the Committee on Appropriations, and it is the Committee on Appropriations who's required to submit the committee report. In this case, the report and the output of the Committee on Appropriations is the HGAB.
No, it's not. The HGAB is different from a committee report. Just like any other bill, the bill is different from the committee report. There must be a committee report included to the bill. It is not one and the same.
Tiangco wanted to see in particular who moved what in the House General Appropriations Bill, or HGAB. He also questioned why, while there's digital copies of the National Expenditure Program and the General Appropriations Act, there's no electronic copy of the HGAB.
1.508583 billion sa NEP. Pagdating sa GAA, 20,795. So, tapos, ang pinasok lang sa BICAM dito is 5 billion and 4 billion each. So, ang napasok dun sa small committee is 13 billion. Dun sa isa, yung isa 14 billion. So, sino yung nagpasok ng 13 billion na yun at saan tinanggal yun?
In the end, Tiangco had to agree to wait for the copy to be provided by the committee secretary, provided that the so-called independent congressman like him be accorded representation in the subcommittee to be formed for the review of budget amendments. Initially, the said subcommittee will have 10 members to be nominated by political parties, party list coalitions, and the minority bloc. The Development Budget Coordination Committee were represented at the briefing by Budget Secretary Amina Pangandaman, Finance Secretary Ralph Recto, Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Arsenio Balisacan, and Bangko Sentral Deputy Governor Zeno Abinoja. Recto said the previous administration left behind 12.8 trillion pesos in debt. This year, only 4.64 trillion of the 6.35 trillion peso national budget is actually supported by government revenues. He broke this down to 17.4 billion pesos in expenses, 12.72 billion pesos in financing by revenue collection, and 4.68 billion in loans on a daily basis. But Recto insists these aren't bad loans.
80% niyan, inuutang natin sa ating sarili, domestic. It is an asset of the Filipino people as well, yung 80% na yan, di ba? So binabayaran din natin yung ating sarili. And that's how we manage our debt.
But all of them agree it's becoming more challenging to manage the budget. Thus, the need to search for more revenue sources without imposing new taxes or debts. Among these is government-owned and controlled corporations' dividends, which the DOF increased to 75 from 50%. There was also talk of a tax on single-use plastics, which was a holdover from the CREATE Act.
We are privatizing more underutilized government assets. The BIR and BOC have also stepped up with higher collection performances through digitalization, strict enforcement, and plugging of leakages in the tax system, especially from e-commerce. So far, we are on track to meet our medium-term fiscal framework targets, with revenue collections growing by double-digit for the last 3 years at an average of 13.8% annually. Tax collections have also consistently expanded at an average of 11.5% annually.
Cagayan de Oro Representative Rufus Rodriguez also questioned why the budget was Manila-centric. He says the allocations for Mindanao and Visayas dropped by 15.4% and 11.1% respectively.
Another challenge is the concentration of economic activity in Mega Manila. That's Metro Manila plus Calabarzon and Central Luzon. While most regions have grown faster than the national average, Mega Manila still accounts for more than half of GDP. Achieving balanced, resilient, and more inclusive development requires diversifying our growth engines across the country.
For News 5, I'm Marian Enriquez. We are One News.
Okay, let's now bring in the man of the hour, Navotas City Congressman Toby Tiangco, former campaign manager of Alianza para sa Bagong Pilipinas. Good evening, Congressman. Long time no see.
Hi, Reggie. Hi. Nandun lang ako isang araw, Regina.
Kaya nga long time no see.
Thursday. I was
Yeah.
there Thursday.
Okay, so we're talking about the budget briefing today. Ikaw talaga, Congressman, you're such a rabble-rouser. briefing lang daw kasi yun today. They were saying that you're not supposed to interpolate yet or question the budget, right? What did you think? How did you think you did today?
No. It's not how I did. No, I think now it's clear that it seems, no, kasi wala namang pinadala yung COMSEC na report. So it would seem na talagang ang makakasagot na lang ng mga questions tungkol sa 2025 is only one person, and that is Congressman Saldico.
So until now, you haven't gotten the small committee report.
No. So talaga naman, totoo naman, si Chairperson Swan Singh was not the chairperson during that time. So talagang ang makakasagot na lang nung questions tungkol dun sa 2025 budget is Congressman Saldico. Wala nang ibang makakasagot.
Oo. Pero you're not even sure may report, di ba? We don't. You're not even sure may report. You haven't verified the existence of a report or minutes of a meeting. Parang wala,
Yeah,
di ba?
pero kung walang report, walang minutes of the meeting, hindi naman pwedeng walang notes si Congressman Saldico, no? Kaya siya na talaga ang dapat managot. Wala na ibang makakasagot nito eh. Di ba? Wala na. No one else can answer this except Congressman Saldico.
And what do you think will happen? A lot of people, and Congressman Ridon is calling for the TRICOM to look into things that happened nga. Pero kumpiyansa ba kayo, Congressman Toby, na may mangyayari dito, no? Since the House is going to investigate itself, do you think it will be an actual, legit investigation or more of a cover-up?
Actually, yung kay Congressman Ridon, I just reminded them na it seems based on our rules na wala sa jurisdiction ng public accounts yun. Okay? Because yung public accounts, I just have to put up our rules. Ang public accounts namin is dapat may audit report na bago tumawag ng meeting yung public accounts kasi that's what differentiates it from the Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability, no? So yung sa public accounts, hanapin ko lang dito dun sa rules namin, to me it is clear na dapat may committee report muna, no? Bago magkaroon ng briefing doon sa public accounts. Ang sinasabi naman nila, since it's a briefing only, hindi naman daw dapat strictly sundin yung rules or something to that effect, no? Pero ang punto ko, kung flood control ang briefing, what will stop other committees like sports and youth to ask for a briefing doon sa flood control, di ba? So, tingin ko wala talaga sa jurisdiction. Ngayon, kung yung good government and public accountability and public works, nasa jurisdiction nila yon. Kaya lang, ang problema is, paano maniniwala yung tao na talagang legitimate yung proceeding? I think the only way na maniwala yung tao na legitimate yung proceeding is si Congressman Saldico muna ang una magpapaliwanag kasi siya yung chairman ng Committee on Appropriations at that time at siya po ang nag-lead doon sa small committee. So, di ba? So, ibig sabihin, siya ang makakasagot kung bakit nabawasan at nadagdagan yung ibang mga ahensya. Kasi di ba, we always talk of the BICAM. Yung BICAM, may report yun eh. It's a simple report wherein nakasulat na kung ano yung original budget, ano yung nadagdag o nabawas doon sa BICAM at ano yung final budget. Diba? Yun lang naman yung hinihingi natin.
And based on what happened kanina, no, yung mga exchanges nyo with the new APRO Chair, Congresswoman Swansing, do you believe that, kasi sinabi nyo rin kanina baka ngayon palang gagawin yan kasi hindi mailabas agad. Do you really believe that, Kong?
Hindi naman masasagot ni Congresswoman Swansing yun di ba? Kaya nga, sinasabi ko, hindi naman siya yung chairman at that time. So, ang talagang makakasagot lang noon is Congressman Saldico, who is still a member of the House now. So I think naman may authority yung leadership na patawag siya and ask him to explain.
And
that is the first sign of seriousness pagdating po dito sa bagay.
nabanggit nyo rin kanina pareho lang yung COMSEC. So you cannot get it from the COMSEC?
Yes, but I mean, those people are just doing their jobs, di ba? Wag naman sila yung pagtuunan natin. Nagtatrabaho lang po yung mga yun.
Okay.
Pero si ko ang kailangan sumagot doon sa mga tanong.
Well, Kong Toby, there is that proposal to replace the small committee with a larger subcommittee with 10 members, but you did point out the absence of independent lawmakers there. Why is it so important, Congressman, that there be independent lawmakers in that subcommittee?
First of all, that is at least they have accepted my proposal and that's a good way moving forward. Kasi hindi naman yung size ng committee ang gaanong kahalaga doon Ang importante is gagawin namin yung pareho ng ginagawa ng Senate na kapag na-approve na on second reading, wala nang papalitan, di ba? Kasi ang nangyari the last budget is binigyan namin ng kapangyarihan yung small committee na palitan kung ano man yung in-approve namin doon sa second reading. Di ba? Kaya nga napakahalaga ng role ni Congressman Saldico dito para maliwanagan itong mga bagay na ito. No? I think the best thing for him is just to explain, di ba? Kung valid naman explanation, ano naman dapat niyang ikatakot? Wala naman, di ba? Ngayon, yung sa independent, that's the reason why I asked kung sino-sino yung composition ng Committee on Budget Amendments yung tawag nila. No? Kaya ako tinanong yan is para malaman kung sino-sino kasi represented yung majority, represented yung minority, represented daw yung political parties, pero meron din namang mga congressmen na independent. No? So saan man bigyan kami ng pagkakataon yung grupo namin na kahit isa lang maging parte ng subcommittee.
Oh no.
Congressman. Medyo nag-choppy po kayo.
Yes,
Can you
yes,
hear
yes,
us
yes.
okay? Ayan.
Yeah. Ano, saan po naputol?
Dun towards the last two sentences po nung sagot ninyo about the small committee and having members of the independent bloc in it.
Hindi, sabi ko that's a good way moving forward. It's a good way kasi yan nga yung naging proposal ko, no? In the beginning, may resistance doon sa spokesperson ni Speaker Romualdez. Parang ibinabato niya ulit sa akin yung problema. Pero at least tinanggap yun ni Chairperson Swansing. At ang tanong ko lang is kung merong representation yung majority, yung minority, yung yung parties, bakit naman yung independent hindi na lang naisama para may bosses kaming mga independents.
Will a subcommittee curb corruption? I mean, isn't that just a small committee by another name? Kasi the small committee is made up of members of majority and minority then, diba? You keep pointing to Congressman Zaldi Co. He's the chair, yes, but there's also the vice chair, Congresswoman Stella Kimbo, the majority leader at that time, minority leader, Nonoy Libanan, also 19th and now 20th Congress. So how does a subcommittee now, eradicate corruption or at least curb it and minimize yung insertions?
Because of the commitment she gave kanina, di ba? Sabi niya, I asked her categorically, ibig sabihin ba na after this, okay, to make a simple explanation, yung small committee kasi dati, it's not merely the size that was problematic. No, it is also the fact that the small committee starts to function after the approval of the second reading. So ang nangyayari, aprubahan namin sa second reading sa plenaryo, pero may authority yung small committee na baguhin kung ano yung inapprove namin. Ang kaibahan ngayon, based on the commitment of Chairperson Swansing, is that yung report ng subcommittee on budget amendments na ipapasa siyempre sa mother committee, which is the Committee on Appropriations, will be shown to the members in plenary, and kung ano yung ma-approve on second reading, wala nang babaguhin. Ang importante lang naman is kung ano yung ma-approve on second reading, wala nang babaguhin. So yun na, that's the positive thing that came out of this. No? But if we will not raise this thing, imagine if we will not raise these things, walang babaguhin, di ba? And I want to put on record, this is not the first time that I questioned the budget process. No, in 2012 HGAB and 2014 HGAB, nag-question na rin ako noon. Kaya lang, admittedly, after that, kahit naging congressman ako hanggang 2019, hindi na rin ako nag-question. Dahil nakita ko noong 2014 HGAB, independent din kasi ako noon eh. Wala naman mangyayari, mag-isa lang ako, di ba?
So ngayon
Ngayon kasi reforma is coming from the president. So may chances. And I'm glad that they heeded the call. I mean, that's a good start. It's a good start.
Okay. So kung tiwala naman kayo no, na with the changes and yung mga promises no, for accountability that they gave last week nung sinubmit yung NEP, do you think these are enough safeguards sa budget process natin, at least dun sa inyo, no, sa first step sa lower house?
I mean, there's hope, di ba? There's hope. And like before, talagang admittedly, sabi ko nga sa inyo, ano lang ako eh, from the 2014 to the 2019 budget, parang wala naman mangyayari, di ba? At least ngayon may pag-asa.
And kumpiyansa ba kayo na masasama kayo dito sa subcommittee na ito?
It doesn't have
Natawa si Regina.
It doesn't have to be B, no? Kasi tatlo naman. Okay, ang independent yata is 7 kami, no? Pero tatlo kaming independents supporting the president, no? I will have to talk to them, to kung Albi, kung Duke, kung sino. Or baka naman pwedeng it's just an I think it's better kung may allocation for the independents, tapos kung sino na lang available, di ba, sa amin. Kasi hindi naman madali ito, di ba?
And Kong, recently we had on the show an economist, JC Punungbayan, and he did say that the reforms for transparency are a step in the right direction, but what citizens have to watch out for is the horse trading that happens before these meetings or even beyond the camera. So what are the safeguards as well for that, Kong?
Wala na kasi 'di ba? Wala na 'yun kasi tulad ng sabi ko, yun nga I mean that's the point that we are trying to address doon sa sinasabi nating wala nang gagalaw after the second reading. Kasi 'di ba, pag pwedeng galawin like in 2025, nagalaw after the second reading. Pag natanggap namin 'yon, third reading na eh. Wala ka naman pwedeng amendments doon sa third reading. Tsaka 7,000 pages yon. Ang hirap hanapin kung saan nabawasan, kung saan dagan. Hindi katulad nito, no? Nagkaintindihan naman kami na I think this is also what is good, no? Nagkaintindihan naman kami. For example lang, I will propose an amendment. Hindi naman ako makakadagdag sa isang departamento nang hindi magbabawas sa isang departamento. Kung ako yung nag-introduce ng amendment na yon, dapat nakalagay na ako yung nag-introduce na bawasan muna ito at ilipat dito sa kabila. So wala nang room for horse trading doon kasi transparent kung sino yung nag-introduce eh. So papanindigan mo na talagang pinabawasan mo at pinalipat mo dito. 'Di ba? Eh kung naniniwala ka naman yan ng tamang paggastos ng pera ng taong bayan, wala namang masama doon. Because ang lagi ko nga sinasabi, hindi naman ibig sabihin porket amendment masama, di ba? Ibig sabihin lahat naman kasi ng batas na ginagawa namin doon. 300 kaming congressman, kaya nga may period of debates, then pagkatapos ng period of amendments, because after the debate, that's when you realize the amendments, di ba?
Yeah.
Kaya, yes, go ahead.
I guess to Pauline's point, baka naman by the time they enter plenary, there's a script na, right? So napag-agreehan na sino yung mag-a-amend, sinong mag-re-align.
Okay, even assuming, no, because there really has to be a document, di ba? Yun naman ang sinasabi ko eh. Pwede naman i-document, hindi naman kailangan na bawat isang congressman ay sabihin niya openly. Pwede, ang dapat lang doon, kung tatanggapin yung amendment, nakasulat kung sino nag-introduce para may accountability on the part of those who make the amendments. At hindi naman lalabas na puro yung Committee on Appropriations ang nag-amend. Di ba? I mean, minsan it's the ideas are not taken constructively. Pero mas mahirap naman na pag hindi ganun, ang lalabas nun yung Committee on Appropriations lang ang nagdesisyon para sa magbawas at magdagdag. Hindi ba mas maganda kung sino yung nagpanukala
So
makita on record? Parang talaga, di ba?
So alam namin sinong habulin namin at sinong kukulitin namin basically.
To guest on the show, in short, exactly. Okay, we'll leave that there. Oh.
Masyado naman masama iniisip nyo, habulin.
Hindi naman.
No,
Pero syempre,
we're
kung
just
may kailangan
joking about
habulin, di ba? Joke lang yun.
No, but of course, you're right. Not all amendments are wrong or malicious, of course. But, ultimately, dapat may
Because the
may
problem is this. I will give you an example. Kanyari, nag-briefing ng agriculture. Halos lahat yan. Halos lahat naman kami sabihin dapat dagdagan yung budget ng agriculture. Ang problema, sinong babawasan? Iba madali kasing magsabi na dagdag. Mahirap magsabi kung saan babawasin. So someone has to be accountable na yung dinagdag dito sa isang departamento ay binawas dito.
Yeah.
At kailangan mo paliwanag na kasi there are many reasons naman bakit mo babawasan eh. Halimbawa, absorptive capacity, ibig sabihin yung last year's budget, hindi naman yan gastos, di ba?
Yeah.
For example, yung mga programang hindi natapos on time, di ba? May mga reasons naman kung bakit mo dapat bawasan eh.
Okay, we'll leave that there for now. But thank you so much for talking to us again. Navota City Representative Toby Tiangco will keep monitoring the briefings. Thank you, sir.
Well, in other news, the Commission on Audit is now looking into alleged anomalous flood control projects in Bulakan. This as some residents in the province are now planning to abandon their homes as their areas are now almost uninhabitable due to being a perennial water world. Rainiel Pawid has this report.
Even if the sun is up, you'll never see village of Bulusan in Kalumpit, Bulacan flood-free. Since 2022, Bulusan has always easily flooded, even with minimal rain, and it takes longer for the water to subside. Now, it's getting to residents' nerves. Like Rodolfo, who has been living in Bulusan for years. And now, his home is constantly wet and rotting.
Naku, marami na ako itinapong gamit na yun naiwan ng matanda namin. Nabasa ng tubig Inisigaan ko na lang pagka pwede na magsiga.
Based on documents from Malacanang, there should be a completed flood control project in the area. But President Bongbong Marcos saw for himself that the project remains unfinished, short by 200 meters. And what has been built is already showing signs of damage. Its contractor is St. Timothy Construction, one of the top 15 contractors nationwide, bared by President Marcos last week. The company is linked to Curly and Sara Diskaya. Sara shot to national fame when she ran for office but lost to Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto in the recent midterm elections. Until now, they have yet to address the issue. The other firm linked to Diskayas that made it to Marcos's list is Alpha and Omega Construction. Another firm that's theirs, according to Mayor Soto, is St. Gerard Construction, which had already been blacklisted by the DPWH in 2020. The Commission on Audit is now looking into this project, which is part of the 548 billion pesos that's been allotted for flood control in the whole country for the past 3 years. 44 billion pesos of that went to Bulacan, the largest allotment for Central Luzon. But when asked if he was aware of the huge flood control projects in his province, this is all Bulacan Governor Daniel Fernandez has to say.
Hindi ko po alam yung mga project na ganyan dyan. Actually, sa kanila po yan. Tinulungan ko pa nga ang DP
COA Chairperson Gamalier Cordoba has ordered all supervising auditors and audit team leaders of the Department of Public Works and Highways district offices in Central Luzon to submit all relevant documents necessary for fraud audit. This is in line with President Marcos's bid to seek accountability for failed projects across the country. For One News, Rainiel Pawid, News 5.
The Makati Business Club, the country's premier business organization, has spoken up about the flood control issues hounding the administration. Executive Director Rafael Alfonso, or APA, Ongpin, spoke to Storycon earlier and said the business community is concerned about all of the quote-unquote fat in the flood control projects. He says big reputable contractors don't even bother joining the bidding for projects as it's all very dirty.
Looking forward, we would like to see master plans for flood control that are open to the public, that are stated and very, very clear what the projects are about, right? And therefore, the bidding for these projects, I mean, it's supposed to be totally clear and open, but it should be a procurement process that attracts, the big contractors. They operate, largely without all of this corruption. They've gotten to that size by playing fair, and would like to see them do these things, not these shady fly-by-night contractors who, they were organized for the purposes of the bidding. They have no track record and so on.
Ongpin also said the business community was very disappointed by the Supreme Court's decision on Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment. The Makati Business Club, together with the Management Association of the Philippines and 2 other groups, recently issued a statement urging the High Court to reconsider. Ongpin says this will disincentivize investors who want assurance that rule of law will prevail in the Philippines.
I think it has been a disincentive to this particular impeachment issue, has been a disincentive to people looking to invest in the country. This is not just a concern for prospective foreign investors. This is a concern for domestic investors. This is a concern for big Filipino conglomerates and so on who need a rule of law, who need public accountability, because right now we're being shaken down. Our businesses are being shaken down by various government agencies.
We're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, what's next for the crackdown on online gambling, with operators now moving to other platforms to entice patrons? We discuss this later with the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Story here on One News. The battle against online gambling in the Philippines is far from over as authorities warn that players are finding new ways to stay in the game. Here's the report.
Without a total ban on online gambling, calls are growing for government to tighten regulation on e-wallet links. Senator Erwin Tulfo, chair of the Senate Committee on Games and Amusement, says that while e-wallet services have delinked gambling sites, operators are moving to other mobile applications, including messaging apps and online shopping platforms. Tulfo noted that platforms like Bingo Plus remain accessible through their apps and websites. Some even sell vouchers on online shopping apps, which can be used to place bets via debit, credit, or e-wallets. In a statement, the senator vowed to work with the private sector to come up with a holistic approach to the issue. The Bangko Central's deadline for all e-wallets to the links gambling sites lapsed last Sunday. Maya confirmed full compliance Saturday evening, while GCash had already cut in-app access. According to the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center, limiting e-wallet access will help curb addiction in a big way.
Nakikita natin is this is one of the two major choke points para magkaroon ng disruption at saka mahinto talaga to kasi kung halimbawa hindi sina-service ito ng mga payment platforms natin, may hirapan yung mga mananaya na puntahan talaga sila.
However, some players say depositing and withdrawing money have not changed much. Many still use alternative apps that link directly to GCash or PayMaya for cash in and cash out transactions.
Sa ibang hindi ganun kateki, may effect sa kanila, medyo parang hassle sa kanilang gawin pa yan. Pero sa ikaw na normal mo nang ginagawa yun, parehas lang.
So
walang pinagkaiba.
Players can also cash in through banks, payment centers, or online shopping apps where vouchers can be purchased for gaming. Messaging apps have also become avenues to play.
Nagkaroon pa siya ngayon ng mga other options eh. Sample, Shopee and Lazada. O nandun siya ngayon. Yung kasama sa option ngayon ni Shopee and Lazada yung gaming. Parang nawala lang kay GCash and Maya, napunta naman sa baga dito sa mga online shopping.
The CICC says it is closely monitoring online gambling and payment platforms. Senator Tulfo says there are now nearly 12,000 illegal gambling sites nationwide, including over 6,300 online casino games, 235 offshore sites, and nearly 4,800 illegal e-sabong platforms. Reporting for News 5, I'm Gary De Leon. We are One News.
Meanwhile, police raided an alleged illegal online gambling hub in Makati City. PNP CIDG operatives found computer sets where gambling operators run their own website where it was rigged to ensure bettors never win.
Nakita rin natin ang mga pandaraya na ang mga tao na tumataya ay siguradong talo.
They can tweak it somehow na mas malaki ang chances na palaging talo yung bettors. Ang nananalo yung kumpanya.
More than 40 employees were rescued in the operation, while 5 foreign nationals and 2 Filipinos were arrested. According to the police, this underground gambling operation has been operating for about a month and is reminiscent of POGO operations.
Which is another subject of investigation din kasi may possible trafficking in persons. Bago naman kami nag-operate, kumuha kami ng certification doon sa mga regulatory agencies natin. Tapos doon, apruebahan natin na wala silang kaukulang lisensya.
Okay, to talk more about this, let's bring in Undersecretary Aboy Paraiso, the Deputy Executive Director of the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Council, or CICC. Good evening, Yusek Aboy. Welcome back to Storycon. Congratulations on getting promoted.
Thank you, Sean, Regina, Pauline. Thank you for having me back, though in a different capacity now.
So now you're fighting cybercrime.
Yeah, it's I think it's a natural progression from where I was before.
It is. The last
story. Did I say story?
Yes, you did.
Sorry, I said story. I have a hangover from my afternoon show. This is the big story pala. Anyways, 12,000 illegal gambling sites is what Senator Tulfo was saying. Is that accurate? How did they get to be so much?
Well, that's more or less accurate because right now, when we block sites, we are around we have blocked around 10,000 sites already from since September of 2022. I think most of these are belong to the same group, though different platforms, which is very usual when it comes to illegal gambling, international gambling syndicates.
But who are they? Who are these operators?
Well, most of them we see that these are foreign. The back office is are located outside of the country. We see UAE, we see Bangladesh, Myanmar, Vietnam. Most of them are international criminal syndicates. Like I mentioned, some of them are Chinese nationals. We see Malaysian nationals. Um, so these are again, it's hard to map out because of they take advantage of this jurisdictional challenge when it comes to their operations.
Asik, may relation ba to sa mga Pogo, USEC na pala, sorry. Executive Director, Aboy.
It's okay. Amoy lang po kayo na yun.
Hindi, para may intersection ba ito with yung mga dating Pogo operators as far as you can tell?
Yes, most of the operations are very similar and very reminiscent of the Pogo operations. Although the betters, when you talk about Pogos, are located outside the country, but here, since these are international syndicates, basically they operate the same way, as well as scam hubs. Again, they try to exploit that jurisdictional challenge because most of the scam hubs that we see here in the Philippines victimize people outside of our country. The one in Cebu victimizes people in South Africa. So it's very reminiscent of the operations of POGOs. So you see these PIGOs whose back offices are outside the country victimizing or targeting Filipino bettors.
And the last time we spoke to you here on The Big Story, no, we were talking about that impending social media influencer takedown of those influencers that promote illegal online gambling sites. Kamusta naman yung nagyari doon? Meron ba kayong nahuli? Meron bang hindi sumunod?
Well, marami naman sumunod. Yun lang yung pasalamat ko. Almost 85% of them complied. Though we're receiving and we're monitoring, some of them are going back to promoting illegal online gambling platforms. And this time, hindi na ho kami makikiusap, tuloy-tuloy na ho. We will be sending them both notices to explain on why government shouldn't pursue cases against them. And we are directly contacting social media platforms to take down not only their contents, but their sites as well.
And the e-wallets have finally been delinked. You said that this was one of the ideal situations for you. And now that it has actually happened, I'm sure may ibang problema na nag-crop up. How has it been? I know it's fairly new, but may developments ba?
Well, what happened kasi is these e-wallets just delinked the payment or the gaming platforms from their sites. They didn't totally stop servicing these illegal gaming platforms. So that's our goal sana na we have these payment platforms identify and deny their services to illegal online gaming or even payment scams or other scams. They should be denied the services because these are being used. Kasi tiyatawag natin dito yung mga fiat platforms So, mas madali tumaya sa kanila. So, the goal is have them deny their services to these criminal syndicates.
Can you compel them to do that though?
Well, yes, it's a valid exercise naman of police power ng Estado. So, again, we're looking at the best practices outside the country. For example, in other countries kasi, when it comes to betting platforms, the government also serves as the payment platform. So, I think that's a model we can copy here in the Philippines that these payment platforms shouldn't service any form of online casinos or online gambling, whether they're legal or illegal. Then the government would be the one taking care of the legal sites when it comes to servicing their activities.
Wait, but you say that you're pushing for all the e-wallets to stop servicing online gambling altogether. That includes the legal online gambling operators. And B, which government agencies are involved? Is it just CICC or who else is here?
No, when we propose that, we're looking at the models of other countries. So we're looking at land bank or what's the other DBP, Development Bank of the Philippines, to service out the legals and the legal platforms and the license operators of these gambling platforms. So it's easy for us to identify if a payment platform is servicing an online gaming. They don't have any excuses that they're servicing legal platforms. They don't have a choice because they're registered. So we want to take away that excuse from these payment platforms.
Yeah, kaya nga, but who is pushing exactly? Is it just the ICC that wants this to happen, or are there other government agencies involved?
Well, I talked to, and to be honest, I've talked to and shared the idea and with PAGCOR and Chairman Altenco. I think he's also looking at that idea and also advancing that idea when it comes to regulation, proper regulation of these gaming platforms.
Okay, but Yusek, even if these e-wallets have delinked gambling sites, it seems that they have migrated to other applications that are also as accessible. What's being done about that? Should that be okay? Because some users are reporting that nothing changed.
No, I think we have to acknowledge that there's a difference, there's a change, and there's a positive change that happened. It became less accessible and less. I'm looking forward. Less enticing to gamblers and online bettors. So that's a positive change, though it didn't solve the problem in totality. But we're looking at, as you said, we're looking at other means that illegal gaming platforms are trying to service out their bettors in terms of how they can bet within their platforms.
So one way, as per we were talking earlier, me and Pawi before the show, she said that these are on encrypted messaging apps. We all know what those are. There's a purple one, there's a green one, there's a blue one. Would we have any sort of control? Like, pwede ba silang pakiusapan to cooperate?
Oh, yeah. In fact, there's a development on that side because before I left for DC, I talked with Telegram who told us and who exclaimed that their platforms have zero tolerance when it comes to anything illegal. We'll be having talks with Viber, I think, this week. So we are really looking at these platforms because these platforms are being used for other criminal activities as well. You have human trafficking there. You have pornography there. You have scams being communicated in these platforms. So again, if you're talking about kung pwede pakiusapan, napapakiusapan naman, no? And I think we're forming a collaboration with these platforms. But in terms of if we can compel them, I think that needs legislation.
And shopping apps.
Oh yeah,
Shopping
you can
apps
buy
as well. You can
vouchers.
buy vouchers?
Vouchers.
Are you aware of
Yeah.
that?
Yes, that's something new for us, and that's something we'll be looking at when it comes to the vouchers in shopping platforms. So these criminal enterprises are being really creative right now, and that means that we're having something positive for government. It means that we're having an effect on them, disrupting their operations. So they are resorting to being creative, and somehow we want to get to a point that it becomes so inaccessible and so tedious for the bettors that they just give up on these illegal platforms altogether.
I'm still bothered by the plan to take away the servicing aspect from. I'm guessing it's not just the e-wallets that you want to take it away from. You want to take it from the banks. Kasi gusto mo sa land bank or DBP lang magka-cash in yung customers, for instance, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so
Sean, because at least with government, you have a
Reg.
strong KYC.
But
Sorry, Reg.
no,
Sorry.
it's okay. But
Sorry,
the
Reg.
point there is parang that's a bit heavy-handed. I'm sure you're aware that these are money makers for not just the e-wallets, but also all sorts of banking, everything that all the institutions that PSP supervises, right? Because they take
Yes.
a percentage of it. I think you're going to come up
Yes.
against major resistance to that. Have you thought
Well,
that
it
through?
takes. Yeah. We have thought about it. We have considered it, but this is a proposal that would heavily, because you have to understand that the gaming industry is a highly regulated and heavily regulated industry. So it's a valid exercise of police power by the state. However, we can do it to protect the general citizenry against two major problems when it comes to online gambling, which is addiction and the lack of KYC. Therefore, the youth of our nation are able to access these gaming platforms even at a very early age.
So it's not a total gambling ban, but the goal is to make it so inaccessible people give up anyways, I guess.
Yes.
In short.
Yes.
Okay, we'll leave the conversation there for now. We'll check back in with you for updates a little later on. But thank you so much for your time tonight. Undersecretary Aboy Paraiso of the CICC.
Now, in other news, the Asian Development Bank has named Andrew Jeffries as its new country director for the Philippines. Starting today, Jeffries will oversee ADB operations in the country, which currently has an active portfolio of around $13 billion. He will implement ADB's country partnership strategy 2024 to 2029 and coordinate with the government, private sector, and development partners. Prior to this role, Jeffries served as ADB advisor for energy transition mechanisms and led a region-wide energy initiative. He also held the position of ADB country director for Vietnam from 2020 to 2023, overseeing all operations there.
At this point, we're going to be pausing for another quick break, but when we return, Nadia Montenegro resigns from her post following allegations linking her to marijuana use inside the Senate premises. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us here on The Big Story. Senator Robin Padilla has officially accepted his political officer, Nadia Montenegro's resignation. In Montenegro's 5-page explanation dated August 15, she said she was resigning for her mental health and the welfare of her children. Montenegro said that claims that she's using marijuana inside the Senate building have, quote, caused great pain and distress to me and my family. It is deeply hurtful to see my name and reputation tarnished and destroyed by a story that is simply not true. Montenegro also vehemently denied the accusations and insisted that, quote, there was no incident wherein a personnel of the Office of the Sergeant at Arms went to our office and found me in the restroom of our office. Further, she said that my decision to resign should not be misconstrued as an admission of guilt. It is not. Rather, it is a demonstration of my deep respect for the Senate and Senator Padilla's office so that this issue does not cause further distraction or harm.
And with this, Senator Padilla said his office is ending its investigation into the issue. But he also said that they will cooperate in case the Senate still pushes through with the probe. Due to the incident, Senate Minority Leader Tito Sotto wrote to Senate President Chis Escudero to request mandatory drug testing in the upper chamber. Escudero has affirmed the readiness of the Senate. And first to volunteer is Senator Mig Zubiri and his staff. They underwent a 5-panel urine test that covered shabu, marijuana, ecstasy, cocaine, and opium. If they fail, the staff would be suspended and made to undergo rehabilitation before they could return to office.
Nagulat po ako kasi akala ko nangyayari lang po yan sa mga kanto-kanto ng Estados Unidos, sa Thailand, nung pagbisita po namin ng aking pamilya, doon sa mga metro area, doon mo naamoy sa mga kanto-kanto na madilim. Itong marijuanang ito. So sabi ko pati naman dito sa Senado nagkakaroon ng pot session. Pag wala naman kayong tinatago, Bakit matatakot po kayo mag-drug test?
And next to go through drug testing will be the office of Senator Raffy Tulfo. He vowed severe punishment if any of his staff turn out positive for drug use.
Sibak. No ifs, no buts, no exception. Kahit na sino pa yung pag nag-positive, tanggal.
NBI Chief Jaime Jimmy Santiago maintained his conscience is clear as he steps down from the post he held just for over a year. Santiago was accused of having an authorized bagman that goes by the name of Paul Tangcad from the NBI Special Task Force Unit. Tangcad allegedly dispatched 4 collectors to illegal online cockfighting and pogo operators, according to tabloid articles that Santiago called malicious. These collectors reportedly pocket up to 2 million pesos weekly. In his resignation letter to President Marcos, Santiago lamented detractors who he said have sinister interests in his position. The NBI chief said he cannot allow them to blacken his reputation, prompting him to file his irrevocable resignation. Santiago, though, will stay on as NBI chief until Marcos names his successor.
Pinagpipilitan si Paul Tangcad ay kolektor ko. Mga kasama, uulitin ko, andyan ang members ng media. Titingin ako sa inyo eye to eye. Tumayo ngayon ang inuobliga ko na magkaroon ako ng lingguhan, monthly. Tumayo ngayon, parang awa nyo na. Kung meron akong inuutusan sa inyo na magbigay sa akin ng pera, ay Diyos ko, lagi kong gaida sa inyo, gusto ko trabaho, trabaho, trabaho.
Meanwhile, the Department of Justice has already floated Santiago's possible replacement.
The NBI under the DOJ falls under the law enforcement cluster. Kaya po yung head ng law enforcement cluster ang gusto nating maging acting NBI director, Yusek Jesse Andres.
This month of August, we celebrate many things, among them our very own Aspins, coincidentally in a month dedicated to honoring our identity. It is the Buwan ng Wika. So for our big picture tonight, nearly 100 pet parents gathered with their beloved Aspins yesterday at the in Quezon City to mark National Aspen Day in an event organized by the Philippine Animal Welfare Society, or PAWS. The celebration shone a spotlight on the resilience, loyalty, and charm of the Filipino dog. The day's highlight was the Palarong Pang-Aspin, where dogs and their owners teamed up to play 10 Filipino-inspired games, testing agility, teamwork, and the special bond they share. And wait lang, because we're also celebrating.
Wait lang, before that, let me just
Okay,
issue a
sige.
correction. We were debating this earlier during the break. Nadia Montenegro is a political affairs officer of Senator Padilla,
She's a
public
public
affairs
affairs
officer, not political affairs officer, as we read. That's according to her resignation letter. She's public affairs officer. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
And we were also shocked that Nadia Montenegro was there.
Would be
to
yeah. Well, that was there to begin with.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But now it was she was there, then she's not there.
I know.
But what is here is one more thing we're celebrating this August. That is Pawi.
Oh,
It is her birthday today.
Yes, it's my birthday. And I don't mind sharing it with National Aspen Day.
No,
because we all love dogs.
cute.
John has an Aspen.
I have an Aspen, and she is ridiculously easy to train.
And we had a very long conversation about how cute Aspens are.
And very smart.
And
Very
how,
smart.
very
I thought I was
smart.
good at training
And how they
dogs.
used to be called Ascals, which you're not supposed to use anymore, which I also didn't know.
Yes, we're supposed to use Ascals only on our football players now.
Yeah.
Ganun ba?
Actually,
With
not
the
even.
Z.
They're not called the Ascals anymore. so-
Ascals with a Z.
What are they called now? They're not called the Ascals
The
anymore.
Philippine football team. Yeah.
Ah, they're not called
They're not called
Ascals anymore. Oh, even the ano ba yan?
Well, we can ask the guys coming up next.
Okay, we can
Ay, wala,
confirm.
wala mong bakit dyan.
Next time, after the show. After the show. All right, that's it for the big story tonight.
I
Thanks so
want
much for
something
watching.
to slice.
Happy birthday,
Wait,
Pawi.
although
We
it's
are
not my
what
birthday.
you. Oh.
Happy birthday,
Ba't talaga
Pawi.
agawin sana ka?
Oh,
Outside,
I want a
outside.
cake. Somebody give me a cake, but
After.
is that me? Sorry. We're back tomorrow, 7:30. See you then. Have a good night.
Well, the
Thanks
night
for
is not
watching.
yet over because coming up next, we have play-by-play with Andre Felix and Cheska Liton Calao. Hi, Dre. Hi, Cheska.
Happy birthday!
Oh, nag-red si Cheska.
O si Cheska, naka-red.
Kanina we
Nag-red.
sang already, busy si Regina.
you were on the computer. Sean and the other crew.
He was trying to call you.
Sorry.
But you gave him the hand.
Oh,
And he got
may flowers,
scurried
pati cake na kami. Tapos, bawal kasi dahil, you're in
fine.
newscast. So, after na lang daw the show.
Oh, okay.
Pero we sang in the dressing room already.
Oh, that's so
video.
sweet.
I will show her the video on my cell phone later.
Kantaan na lang natin ngayon.
No. Okay, serious mode tayo.
Pero Andre, wait. Ito, just to